Is it wrong for a Christian to complain? I've heard Christians say that, as a Christian, you're not supposed to ever complain. Well, do you know in Acts chapter 8 and verse 1, the Bible teaches us that a complaint arose in the early church? Well, let me give you some background as to what it was about. In the Jewish community, you kind of had two different cultures. You had culture that they spoke primarily Hebrew and Aramaic, and they dressed a little differently too, it seems, with your Greek culture Jews that spoke Greek and things like that. And among them there was some kind of a rift between the two, and possibly even prejudice and things like that. Well, when these different cultures of Jews came into the church, it doesn't seem their prejudices and things like that ever went away. And so in chapter 6 there, you had the Greek culture Jewish Christians, think about that, okay, raising a complaint that their widows were being neglected in benevolent assistance that the church had agreed to provide for them. Now, whether or not that complaint was legit or not, or maybe they were reading into it, I don't know. The text, specifically doesn't give us any more details than that. But the point is you had a serious problem in the early church that could have divided the church. Thankfully, the apostles, in their wisdom and with the Holy Spirit there, solved this problem, and there was never a division. But why do I tell you all that? Here's why I tell you that, okay? You cannot solve problems until awareness is raised regarding those problems. That, in other words, is complaining. And in this sense, complaining is not wrong, okay? Things don't get fixed if you don't know that there's something wrong, all right? Well, that's different than, for instance, what the Apostle Paul said in Philippians chapter 2 and verse 14 when he says there to do all things without murmuring or complaining and disputing. All right, that text there describes an overall attitude that someone may have and an outlook on life that everything stinks, nothing is ever good, and then expressed in constant grumbling and complaining. As Christians, we can't be like that. The next verse in verse 15 of Philippians chapter 2 talks about how we are shining lights. We're not going to be shining lights, and we're not going to show people that we have joy as Christians if we're all the time grumbling, okay? But why do I say all that? Here's why. This is the time of year, and perhaps this is the week, the day before Thanksgiving, that hopefully we're reminded as Christians that we should be thankful, and not just on one day or even one week, but all the time. And so because of that, I ask you, how do we express our thankfulness? Well, by giving thanks, right? Well, here's the next question. What is the opposite of giving thanks? It's complaining, in the sense according to Philippians chapter 2. And I don't know what kind of person you are. Are you the person that the only time you complain, you're raising awareness to a legit problem that needs to be fixed? Or are you the kind of person that has the constant complaining attitude? I don't know, but here's something that you ought to consider, and we all ought to consider. Have we ever examined our complaints? Because the reason why is when I think about us examining our complaints, sometimes it's in the midst of our complaints that we can even find reasons to be thankful for. I don't know who wrote this. It was perhaps some mother at some point. Maybe you've already heard it, but I'd like to share it with you in regard to complaining and thankfulness. It says, I'm thankful for dirty dishes that I find in my kitchen after a party because it means I've been surrounded by friends. I'm thankful for the taxes that I pay because it means that I'm employed. I'm thankful for the clothes that fit a little too snug because it means I have enough to eat. I'm thankful for my shadow which watches over me while I work because it means I'm in the sunshine. I'm thankful for the spot I find at the end of the Walmart parking lot the day after Thanksgiving because it means I'm capable of walking. I'm thankful for the lady who sits behind me in church who sings off key because it means I can hear. I'm thankful for the piles of laundry and ironing because it means my loved ones are nearby. I'm thankful for the windows that need cleaning because it means that I have a home. I'm thankful for my huge heating bill because it means that I'm warm. And I'm thankful for the alarm that goes off in the morning because it means that I'm alive. What do you complain about? We all complain from time to time, if not honestly, some of us every day. Let's examine those. Because I believe when we do, we'll find a lot more reasons to be thankful as opposed to finding reasons to complain.